How's it going, y'all? It's Bill. Here's my internship portfolio. Cool. Cover slide. It's me, man. Spinning the ball on my finger like a PE teacher, looking all cool and such. I'm at Grand Rapids Child Discovery Center. Really good job. Really good time. I really enjoy it there. I wouldn't be opposed to staying there after I graduate if there was an opening, but maybe, maybe not. We'll see. I've been there since January. I'll finish up there in April, and my mentor is the man, the myth, the legend, Mark Gaskins. Great guy. Has taught me a lot during my time here at GRCDC. My other mentor, I didn't really mention her much, but Kristen Ferguson at Wyoming High School. Cool lady. Definitely learned a lot through Mark, so I'll probably just be talking about him a lot more within these for inspiration. Cool. All right, let's get to it. Boom. Standard one. Okay, this is like my intro to my soccer lesson. This is definitely different. So I did a soccer lesson in high school. It was, a lot more lesson plans, but a lot harder to come up with a curriculum to teach them with all the different lesson plans I had to do. I only had to do 6 lesson plans for this for these guys, and I would have to do like 12 for the other unit for soccer in high school. But what I noticed with the K through second and then third through fifth is I had to do 2 different lessons almost basically, just because of different skill levels. Okay, I had to really focus on those adaptations, and the extensions, and the modifications within it, so I can make sure that all my kids are just progressively getting better and like learning the fundamentals better and just kind of their skill level and so on and so forth. So really good lesson, a lot of fun. It's kind of just like the stuff I was going over here in the lesson. Same thing, kind of the stuff that we were going over, kind of just like the 4 critical elements and things that I was looking for, and that's what I was assessing them on. So just making sure that they were, extending their arms, prepping for the kick, they're following through to the target, extending upwards after, making contact with the ball at the center of the ball, and just following through at the end. I just really want to make sure that this is for a strike kick and not a side kick, so kind of just teaching them fundamentals between the two. Just kind of including these type of motor skills and the strategies and techniques of doing different kicks in different types of games of soccer. Knowing the difference between a strike pass on goal and knowing the difference between just a bump pass on the side of your foot to a partner. This is a cool one. I did this activity in my health lesson in high school at Wyoming High School. The health lesson just had there on the Chromebook for their technology to kind of write up, and it was just a reflection, just talking about where in media and music and things that they see online or listen to or whatever in podcasts and all that fun stuff that where they see marijuana being glorified in media, and I just kind of want to talk to them more about the negative effects. So just saying like the things that they see on TV may be glamorized, but it's not necessarily what's best for them for their health. And so in the end, I just kind of just made them do a research assignment against that kind of the glorification use of marijuana, and just advocate on the start that what are the negative effects of it and how that this shouldn't be put in media. Um, Artifacts, same thing, kind of more of this soccer unit. Managing just resources and equitable learning is what I was definitely trying to keep on here. A lot of the things is just we didn't have enough soccer balls for all the students, so just understanding coming up with games like keep away where there's 4 people in the group, 3 defenders and 1 offense and stuff like that, and just trying to keep the ball away and just trying to set up these groups to make sure that like nobody's left out and just to make sure that it's always rotating and everybody gets a turn and like I am making these teams based off skill base, so like there wasn't like a really good kid overpowering like the kid who's not developmentally there yet. So um, this was a pretty cool lesson where I just ensured that and really focused on that kind of stuff. This is another one that I did at Wyoming, which is a healthy or unhealthy scenarios for toxic relationships. We just talked about the difference between a healthy and unhealthy relationship. I had probably like 3 or 4 different scenarios. I gave them out on their tables, and they kind of just had to do through a checklist, kind of just talking about, if they put themselves in this situation, what would they do? Like this one is just talking about, um, you know, your friend is competitive, second best at anything, and doing something well, she'll do it better. Just kind of just like a one-upper, kind of just like a narcissistic behavior, which is like obviously seen in kids, and people do it, but is this something that they necessarily need to end the relationship with? Probably not. Should they change the relationship and tell them how it feels? So just having that communication part, just kind of talking through it, and just being able to talk about like people encroaching on their personal boundaries and how to like kind of like set up themselves with proper communication in the future. Another one, this one's from my IP plan through soccer. Just the progression within it. Worked on basic skills, fundamentals, slowly build the lessons from 1 all the way up to 6, leading to full games. So just planning and implementing just kind of just the extension and what my end goal is. Obviously at the beginning to start with just the basics and just moving up slowly once I see everybody has met my standard and what I need them to do in order to really know and feel confident that they are ready to move on to the next lesson, which they all did, so it was really awesome. Um, Here's some cool stuff that I use. Here's our projector down here on the screen in the gym. I was showing them just how to play a lightning game. I found through Mark that he told me that a lot of the times it's harder when I do the demonstration, especially when there's a lot of people involved in the game. And it's a lot easier if I explain it, break it down to a couple people, and just use them as an example. So I brought a lot of kids up, and after showing this lightning video that I had on the projector, so they watched the video, they understood the video like on YouTube, not just like Mr. W up there trying to play lightning by himself with like 1 or 2 kids. I had like 6 of them run through like a mini game while the rest of them watched, so they can understand like who player 1 is, who player 2 is, who's in, who's out, like how elimination works, and so on and so forth. So that's when they watched this, they understood it, they implemented it, and then I executed it with all of them. So that was pretty cool using technology, so it wasn't just me showing them up there, but they got to see like an actual other PE lesson being taught from another school within this YouTube video. Super cool stuff. Standard 3, planning and implementing. Another Wyoming Health one. So this is just them just doing their research on kind of the cause and effects of secondhand smoke. So I just had them like reflect. It wasn't really anything much written in this, but I wanted them to advocate on it for 5 minutes, just like and tell me the long-term or short-term effects of secondhand smoke. They're probably definitely around it with their families or friends. They're in high school, so they're witnessing this a lot. It's kind of just talking about just like the effects of it and how they should advocate and stand up for themselves and try to stop that person from smoking around them, or just try to get others to stop smoking. So this is something that I want to teach them. Um, Next up is just my assessment. This is kind of the stuff that I was looking for within the kicks. Um, I had more written feedback on there too, for sure. Just kind of the stuff that I really want them to work on when they were executing their kicks. So this was their pre-test, and I also had the post-test for them as well at the end of the unit, kind of just going through it, and then I just had like a regular, just like A, B, C, or D test at the end, just kind of just explaining basic rules and regulations within the game of soccer. So this is how I was like kind of evaluating them, telling them how they would need to work on their form, and they did so, and it worked out great. Here is a um, health tree map, just talking about depressant stimulants, hallucinogens, opioids, and marijuana use. I wanted them to give me the definition, 2 examples of each one of these drugs and the negative side effects. I wanted 3 of those. And so it really builds on. So it's like 1, 2, 3. So they understand what it is, understand what kind of thing. So understanding like, oh, okay, so like a depressant such as alcohol, like knowing that I shouldn't mix an alcohol like depressant with a stimulant such as like cocaine or something like that that can really cause like heart issues and that can be a negative side effect. And so just kind of just like talking about each one of them, identifying what they are and the negative side effects. So kind of just trying to educate them on all types of different types of drugs and the negative side effects. So that was pretty cool. That was the assessment I had, so they just had to fill this in. Um, Next, here is just my observation through Professor Armstrong, just talking about how well I did. This is for Star Wars tag. She liked that I would call the students in, kind of give them a debrief, kind of had the music always going. I had good transitions. I made sure that I used the chime, that I would always choose different taggers, make sure that everybody got like a time to play. I would always monitor my students and make sure that they were being safe, and if I saw any unsafe behavior, I would always just nip that in the bud immediately. So it was pretty cool. I was just doing these, kind of just getting these practices in, and it was cool to kind of see this lesson kind of go into fruition, how hectic this game can be, but I can manage the hecticness, like the craziness all around me. Here's some more evidence. Just talking about just like my midterm evaluation through Ferguson. She was just saying just how like my lessons were appropriately challenging for my students. Um, the variety of skills, all students could participate. And that's something that I just kind of had difficulties with at Wyoming High School. These kids are just like, low income students who are just really tired and don't really feel like doing a lot of this stuff. So being able to motivate and push all of them to do this was really fulfilling. She definitely gave me a lot of kudos for that because she struggled with that, and I can see why some of these kids did not want to be there. But it was good to see that some of these kids at the end of the semester did want to be there, and I was motivating them. So satisfactory and everything. I guess she was happy, so I can't complain either. Cool. Uh, my mentor teacher's final rubric. He's been saying great things about me as well, using Danielson framework. Has been giving me all proficients, majority of them. Yeah, so I mean, you guys can kind of just see this, the bits of it, just knowing that I'm doing well, planning and prepping my classroom environment. I like to gravitate, move around. My instructions are really clear. As you guys know me, I'm pretty loud, and I like to just move around the room and just reiterate things, kind of do for a lot of check for understandings, and just make sure that everything is clear and concise. A little follow up on that, more satisfactories. I did get a development for responsiveness, but um, I guess that's cool. That might be an issue, I don't know. But yeah, pretty cool stuff. All satisfactory. So I try to get there on time, timeliness, good things at the school, professional appearance. It's not really too hard for us PE majors. We show up in sweats. Uh, Very end of it, a lot of positive things to say. Keep me great insight and guidance during my time here at GRCDC. This was kind of cool. I did like this part. I noticed that Jared's didn't have this, and I'm glad that we kind of had this. I went back and found like my HP 195 4 years ago personal statement final, and it was cool to think about the things I was thinking about the type of educator I wanted to be. And I want to be like, always upbeat, enthusiastic, be there for all my students, like have my class be a place they can decompress and so on and so forth. And I stuck to my values, man. While I'm in here, like in the chair doing it, like I haven't even thought about this assignment until I just recently looked at it, and I was like, wow, like I really did push for that. I did really speak this into existence. Like I'm glad that like my ethics and morals within being an educator has still stood and pushed through at the end of the day. So it's super cool to see this. This was a fun little assignment we did in HP 240. It was like kind of on the spot in class, just a quick little lesson plan, just like talking about just like little fitness stuff, describe the basic features of like the heart and lungs, and just whipping that up real quick because you always got to be flexible as a PE or a health teacher, just because you might have some extra times and you got to pull some stuff out of your hat. So it was kind of funny doing this assignment. We did this with other people in our class. This little segment. This is my physical copy. I still have all my binders and all my notes from all the classes I took, which is taking it in my closet. So here's another one. This one's from 309. Here's a rating scale I did, which is one of my assessments that I did this semester. Rating scale, kind of just making sure, giving them a level of skill knowledge to know what they're doing, like how, based upon my rubric and criteria, how well they're hitting these fundamentals. And I was within one of my kicking lessons, so they were doing that. So I thought it was cool. I put the link there on there as well. And then I couldn't really find a whole lot of the other stuff. To be honest, my computer kind of wiped clean of a lot of the stuff, unfortunately. But here's my Ultimate Star Wars lesson plan for the first one I taught GRCDC, which is like a hectic lesson to teach, like I talked about, and how well it went, how smooth it went. And this is definitely something that I want to use again in the future. Um, Finally, my reflective growth paper. Two quotes, which are pretty short, don't get me wrong, but I like this. I feel like I've become a safe place for all my students, and I've grown to love the excitement in their eyes when they see me running into the classroom. So when they come in, Mr. W, Mr. W, they give me all these big hugs and stuff like that. It's just like, man, this is awesome. Like I'm glad that I have a good impact on these kids. And then another goal that I have that I for sure next year will work towards getting my master's. That's kind of a goal of mine. I still got some time left on my GI Bill, so I will definitely be chipping away at my master's in the next coming years. Definitely need some time off, but that's something that is kind of put down there just to write it into existence, speak it into existence, let other people know to hold me accountable in order for me to get my master's, because that's something that I will do. And then the very end, I did not use AI. I don't know how I could use AI and all this personal stuff. But yeah, anyways, thanks for watching. I hope I did this right. I guess Professor Armstrong will let me know with my grade. Anyways, thanks for watching.